The fluorescent lights of the executive boardroom buzzed like angry hornets, casting a sterile glow over the polished mahogany table that stretched out like a runway to nowhere. Alex Harlan sat at one end, his fingers drumming an erratic rhythm on the armrest of his leather chair, the kind that cost more than most people's monthly rent. He'd been here before, countless late-night strategy sessions, deal-closing marathons, but never like this. Never with his heart pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat, a metallic taste of adrenaline coating his tongue. The clock on the wall ticked mercilessly toward 5 p.m., the cutoff for the fiscal quarter. Just one more hour, and his $4 million bonus would vest. $4 million. The kind of money that bought freedom, that erased the scars of 80-hour weeks in cutthroat negotiations. He'd earned it, damn it. Every merger, every hostile takeover, he'd been the company's pit bull. The door swung open with a soft whoosh, and in walked Victoria Lang, the CEO, flanked by two suits from HR and legal. Victoria's face was a mask of corporate composure, her power suit sharp as a blade, but Alex caught the flicker in her eyes, something predatory, almost triumphant. She took the seat at the opposite end, her entourage settling like sentinels on either side. No greetings, no small talk. Just the click of a briefcase opening, papers sliding across the table. "Alex," Victoria began, her voice smooth as silk over steel, "we need to talk about your future with the firm." His stomach twisted. Future? He'd just closed the biggest deal in company history last week, the acquisition of Teknova, a $2 billion coup that had Wall Street buzzing. He'd sacrificed everything for this place, weekends with his kids, his marriage crumbling under the weight of his absences. Lisa had left 6 months ago, taking the house in the Hamptons and half his soul. But the bonus, that was his lifeline. College funds, alimony, a fresh start. He leaned forward, forcing a smile that felt like a grimace. "Victoria, if this is about the bonus, She held up a hand, cutting him off. "It's not about the bonus. Not directly." Her eyes locked onto his, unblinking. "It's about performance. Recent reviews indicate inconsistencies in your leadership style. Complaints from the team about aggressive tactics, potential ethical lapses in the Teknova negotiations." Alex's blood ran cold. Ethical lapses? That was bullshit. He'd played by the rules, mostly. A little creative accounting here, a nudge on regulatory approvals there, but nothing that wasn't standard in this Shark Tank. "What complaints? From who?" "I've delivered results. The stock's up 30% because of me." One of the HR drones, a mousy woman with a clipboard, cleared her throat. "Anonymous feedback, Mr. Harlan. We take it seriously." Anonymous. Of course. Cowards hiding behind surveys while he bled for the company. He glanced at the legal guy, a slick weasel named Barrett, who was thumbing through a thick document. Alex recognized it immediately, the employment contract he'd signed 5 years ago, back when he was hungry and naive, clawing his way up from mid-level analyst to VP of mergers and acquisitions. Victoria leaned back, steepling her fingers. "Alex, you've been a valuable asset. But the board has decided it's time for a change. Effective immediately, your employment is terminated." The words hit like a gut punch. Terminated. Fired. Just like that. He stared at her, the room spinning slightly. "You can't do this. The bonus vests in an hour. I've met every metric, exceeded them." Barrett slid the contract across the table, his finger tapping a highlighted clause on page 17. Section 9.2, Termination for Cause. It allows the company to sever ties without payout if performance issues are documented within the vesting window. Alex snatched the paper, his eyes scanning the fine print he'd barely skimmed back then. "For cause." What cause? This is a setup. You planted those complaints to trigger this clause. You want to pocket my bonus for the executive pool. Victoria's lips curled into a faint smile, the first crack in her facade. "Business is business, Alex. We've prepared a severance package. 6 months' salary, vested stock options up to last quarter. It's generous. Generous? He wanted to laugh, but it came out as a choke. 6 months was peanuts compared to $4 million. His mind raced, piecing it together. The whispers in the halls last month, the sudden audit on his deals. They'd been planning this. Victoria had always seen him as a threat, too ambitious, too effective. With him out, she'd consolidate power, maybe even claim credit for Takeover herself. He stood up abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. This won't hold up. I'll sue. Wrongful termination, breach of contract. My lawyer will tear this apart. Barrett chuckled softly, a sound that made Alex's skin crawl. We anticipated that. The clause is ironclad. Arbitrated disputes, company favorable venue. You'll spend more fighting it than you'd recover. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. Alex paced to the window, staring out at the Manhattan skyline, the sun dipping low, painting the buildings in bloody hues. 1 hour. If he could stall, drag this out. Let's talk this through. Give me a chance to address the complaints. I deserve that. Victoria glanced at her watch. We don't have time for debates, Alex. Security is waiting outside to escort you out. Hand over your badge and phone. Security? Like he was some thief? Humiliation burned in his chest, mixing with rage. He thought of his daughter, Emily, turning 10 next week. The pony he'd promised her, the vacation to Disney. All slipping away. And Lisa, God, she'd gloat, call him a failure. His hands trembled as he pulled out his company phone, slamming it on the table. You think you've won? This clause, it's going to backfire. You have no idea. Barrett arched an eyebrow. Threats won't help, Mr. Harlan. Not a threat. A promise. Alex's mind flashed to the late nights poring over contracts, the loopholes he'd exploited in deals. This one, there had to be something. He grabbed the document again, flipping pages frantically. Section 9.2. Termination for cause, but cross-reference to Appendix B, definitions. His heart skipped. There it was. Cause defined as gross misconduct, felony conviction, or material breach of fiduciary duty, proven by independent review. Anonymous complaints didn't qualify. They needed evidence, not hearsay. You rushed this, Alex said, his voice gaining strength. No independent review. Just your word. That's not cause under the contract. Victoria's smile faltered. Our legal team vetted this. Did they? Alex pressed, stepping closer. Because if you fire me without proper cause, Section 12.4 kicks in accelerated vesting of all incentives upon improper termination. The room went silent. Barrett's face paled as he snatched the contract back, eyes darting to the appendix. That's interpretive. Alex laughed, a bitter bark. Interpretive? It's clear as day. You trigger that clause to dodge the bonus, but if it's not legit, I get everything: bonus, options, even a penalty multiplier for bad faith. HR Mousy shifted uncomfortably. We should consult. No, Victoria snapped, composure cracking. He's bluffing. But Alex saw the doubt in her eyes, the way her hand tightened on the table. The clock ticked, 4:15 p.m. 45 minutes to vesting. If he walked out now, they'd claim cause and fight in court. But if he stayed, forced their hand. He sat back down, crossing his arms. Call security. But know this, the second they drag me out, my lawyer files. And with Takeover's due diligence files, I have copies. Irregularities in the funding sources. Offshore accounts that skirt sanctions. Fire me improperly, and I blow the whistle. Victoria's face hardened. That's extortion. No, Alex replied, leaning in. That's leverage. You backdated those complaints, didn't you? To fit the window. Barrett whispered urgently in her ear, but she waved him off. The tension thickened, the air electric with unspoken threats. Alex's pulse thundered, sweat beading on his forehead. This was it, the precipice. One wrong word, and he'd lose everything. But push too hard, and they might call his bluff. Minutes dragged. 4:25 p.m. Victoria stood, pacing now, her heels clicking like gunfire. What do you want, Alex? The bonus. Full vest. And a glowing reference. She stopped, glaring. Or what? Or I walked to the SEC. Technova wasn't clean. You knew about the shell companies. I covered it to close the deal. Lie. Partial lie. He'd suspected, but no proof. But the fear in her eyes told him she believed it. Barrett interjected. Victoria, if he's right about the clause. Shut up, she hissed. Then, to Alex, you think you're untouchable? We can bury you in litigation for years. Maybe, as Alex said, voice steady despite the storm inside. But by then, the bonus is mine. And your reputation? Shredded. 4:35 p.m. The door opened a crack, security peeking in. Victoria waved them away. Her face was a war zone, fury, calculation, defeat flickering across it. Fine, she said finally, the word tasting like poison. We'll reclassify. Mutual separation. Bonus vests. Alex exhaled, relief flooding him like a drug. But wait, not yet. In writing. Now. Barrett drafted a quick addendum, hands shaking. Alex reviewed it, signed. 4:50 p.m. As he stood to leave, bonus secured, Victoria's voice stopped him. You played dirty, Alex. He turned, smiling genuinely for the first time. Business is business, right? That clause you loved? It just backfired spectacularly. Walking out, the $4 million wired to his account by 5:01 p.m., Alex felt the weight lift. But the emotional scar remained, betrayal sting, the near-miss abyss. Freedom tasted sweet, laced with vengeance. The company? They'd pay in whispers, in lost trust. The clause, meant to protect them, had handed him victory on a silver platter.